him called the occultation, which means that currently the Imam Mahdi is hidden, occulted, buried. Guess where they say he is? He's in Jamkharan, Iran. Well, that's where Mahmoud Ahmadinejad is. He's buried in a well, and here's a picture of the mosque that surrounds this well where their Savior is buried right now, and they're waiting for one day for something to happen that's going to trigger the release of the Mahdi, the Muslim Messiah in the last days. He's going to rise up out of the chaos, out of the chaos, out of the abyss, out of the pit. Let's see. Freemasons have this lost word buried in a pit. Muslims have their Messiah buried in a well, in a pit. I think they're worshiping the same God, and they're promoting the same kingdom in the last days. Let me take this a step further. Be honest. Have you ever thrown money in a wishing well? I have. And believe it or not, I was watching, of all things, SpongeBob SquarePants. And Mr. Krabs, who's a money grubber, saw people throwing money into a well, and he's going, I got to have a wishing well. And I'm just watching this imagery in a cartoon. And I'm thinking, I think there's something there, because I know the Muslim Messiah is in a well. So I looked up wishing well. Go to Wikipedia and look up what a wishing well is. A wishing well is a term from European folklore to describe wells where it was thought that any spoken wish would be granted. That is what Dan Brown wrote about in The Lost Symbol, Noetic Science. Here, I'll turn it around here. The Noetic Science referred to in here is this idea that our wishes, our thoughts, become reality. Where it was thought that any spoken wish would be granted. The idea that a wish would be granted came from the idea that water housed deities, or had been placed there as a gift from the gods, since water was a source of life and often a scarce commodity. The Germanic and Celtic peoples considered springs and wells sacred places. Sometimes the places were marked with wooden statues, possibly of the god associated with the pool. Germanic peoples were known to throw the armor and weapons of defeated enemies into bogs and other pools of water as offerings unto their gods. You get it, don't you? This whole idea of a wishing well. In fact, what I'm finding out is that most of the myths, the superstitions, the traditions, they all have as its root this concept of a beast rising up in the last days, or angels falling down from heaven to take over planet Earth in the last days. I'm going to show you this. I got one more thing to show you, and I'm going to show you this. This is, I look for symbols. I look for things, and I'm getting halfway decent about spotting them. I was watching a movie here the other day. It came out a few years ago. It's called The Sum of All Fears. Now, this is interesting because the Bible refers to Lucifer in Ezekiel chapter 28 as being the sum. The sum. Here we have a movie called The Sum of All Fears. And I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of what this movie is all about. Here we have in this movie a conspiracy. A conspiracy to bring in a new world order. And this conspiracy is being facilitated by a secret society, a group meeting. And their main symbol is the swastika. Now, I will tell you, and you've seen some of our other stuff on that before, I will tell you that swastika doesn't just point you to the Nazis. The swastika is a hidden symbol showing the fusion of opposites together. Up and down, left and right, being brought together. So the swastika is another hidden way of talking about these two kingdoms that are going to take over, or the sources of this kingdom that's going to take over planet Earth in the last days. So here we have a secret society that's going to facilitate the destruction of the old order and bringing in a new order, and their symbol is a swastika. The movie starts out by showing you a secret. The secret in this case is actually the destroyer, Abaddon. In this movie, it's symbolized by an atomic bomb. that was buried underground. This atomic bomb is taken and sold on the black market and taken to Haifa, Israel. Haifa, Israel, and here's a picture of it on a map from Google Maps. Haifa is located between the 32nd and 33rd parallels. Now this bomb is shipped from Haifa to the Ukraine where it's reignited. It's then shipped from the Ukraine to Baltimore, Maryland, and it's going to be exploded and try to kill the president. And what they want to do is they want to start World War III. Are you ready for this one? The person who is in charge of bringing the hidden destroyer into this country to be detonated is a guy by the name of Mason. And his email address shows up as Mason-JOD. The J-O-D is the Hebrew letter Yod, which is the first letter of the Tetragrammaton, which is Yod-He-Vah-He, which is Jehovah, which is the name of God. Albert Pike, Manly Hall, all these Masonic writers, they talk about the letter Jod as having some special magical significance. Do you know why? Take a look at it. Because the letter Yod or Jod shows one part of it pointing up, one part of it pointing down. So the synopsis here is out of the chaos of the bomb comes a new order. And you see this at the end of the movie. Out of the chaos of the bomb, the destroyer buried, and it's revealed and it destroys, and then it brings these two kingdoms, Russia and America, back together in a new world order. I just had to share that this weekend. This is what God has shown me. Now here's what I'm going to say out of all of this that we've talked about. I believe that there is a plan afoot right now to destroy the old world and bring in a new world order. I believe it has everything to do with secret societies and secret happenings that are going on. I think that we're seeing it visually right in front of our very eyes in movies and books and even children's cartoons. And I will tell you that this plan is being worked on, activated as we speak. How can you escape this plan of the last days? I'm telling you that more people than think they are either going to be killed in the last days or receive a mark on their right hand or forehead. What is the difference? What makes me, or hopefully you, so special? Let's go back to Revelation chapter 12. Verse 10 says, "And I heard a voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of His Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death." You remember the blood of the Lamb, don't you? You remember what the Passover was all about. The blood of the Lamb upon the doorpost prevented, here it is, the destroyer, Abaddon, Apollyon. It prevented, the blood of the Lamb prevented the destroyer from hurting anyone in that house. Salvation is by the blood of the Lamb. Salvation of what is happening in these days is not going to be at the hands of Barack Obama, or right now, Massachusetts just elected its first Republican senator in